Welcome, everybody, back to Friends with Benefits, the interview series. This is episode number 3. Today, I'm interviewing an old friend and a doctor of Ayurveda, Ashley. I'll let her explain more what she does, and she can also tell you guys how we know each other.
So my name is Ashley Franco. Some people also know me as Ambika. Um, we have known each other for quite some time now. I was 21 when we met back in 2011.
Yeah, I think 11 or 12.
Yeah, and we're working at Russo's, the Italian restaurant, and we've had our own adventures in life, you know. We've always kept in contact, and I feel like there's always been some type of parallelness to our universe of like interests. And, even though I moved away for school, we've always been able to remain really good friends, and I'm always very grateful for that. As far as Ayurveda, it's a new topic for some people, but it's very sacred and ancient. So what is Ayurveda? Ayurveda is a Sanskrit word, and we can break it down into two, where Ayuhus means life and Veda means science or knowledge. So basically it is knowledge of life or the science of life. And it's pretty ancient. We want just to put like a number to grasp a little bit of reality on it. We say it's over 5,000 years old, and it is known to be one of the original healing systems that originated in India, ancient India, with a Vedic culture as well. And the science of life is basically just an art of daily living in harmony with nature. But Ayurveda also deals with relationships. So it's an art of daily living in harmony with nature, but that nature includes yourself, your environment, the outer world, Mother Nature, but then each other. So as far as it being something as simple and as basic as looking at the elements, the doshas, which we'll talk a little bit about, and then certain qualities that are linked to, the elements or the doshas. So it can seem like a lot for people who have never heard about it, or maybe you've heard about it and kind of tinkled in a little bit here and there. But it really is super simple and super basic as long as you have a really solid understanding of the foundations of just understanding the elements, the doshas, and certain qualities associated with it. So the macro is the micro, so within, so without, so above, so below. We are the universe. We have the universe within inside of us. And I don't want to get too like woohoo because I can lose some people here, but just like understanding there's 5 basic elements: ether or space, air, fire, water, and earth. So it's pretty self-explanatory of understanding these 5 basic elements in our external world, but we also have them within us, within our makeup, even down to the cellular level. Yeah. So, for instance, and I'll try and keep this brief.
It's hard. I don't mean to cut you off. It's hard, but because you're explaining this so well that you can tell how deep it gets. It's such a thorough and truly holistic
Yeah.
practice.
There's so many layers, and that's the beauty of it. It's like there's so much depth and so many layers, but all of that can be brought back to the simplicity of the basics, which are the 5 elements. So, understanding ether, space. We have space, ether, within us. Our nasal cavity, oral cavity, our lung, there's space within our lung, even down to the cellular level. There's tiny, minute little bits of space or ether in there, right? Air deals a little bit more with movement. So, as far as our heart beat or rhythm, that can be a little bit more of air and fire, but maybe more so of just like our
Breath.
oxygen, our breath, flatulence.
Yeah.
There's a lot of air within. Fire too, more of a metabolic, looking into the fire of like digestion. Water, think of all of the juices
Yeah.
within us. You know, our membranous liquids, plasma, blood, lymph, and then earth, our structures. There's minerals, our bones, our tissues, our ligaments, our muscles. All of that comes from the earth element. So as you can see, there's these 5 elements within us and the 5 elements without us. So again, harmonizing between the two, because we're going to be affected whether what's going within, whether what's going without. So those are the 5 basic elements.
I love that explanation so much. It
So
makes once you say it that way, it clicks. It's just like it makes
I'm
sense.
telling, as I was learning Ayurveda, it was just like, oh, light bulb, bingo. It all seems so simple, but you kind of have to hear it, you know, to be like, oh yeah, why didn't I think of that? You
Right.
know, or at least that's my experience as well. So you have these 5 basic elements, and then now we're going to group them into doshas, or bodily constitutions, which is vata, pitta, and kapha. Vata, pitta, and kapha have all 5 of the elements, but each of them have a predominance in 2.
So that's where it gets a little more intricate.
So yeah.
And before you keep going, I'm
Yeah,
so sorry.
No,
I
no, no.
just do want to point out that for someone who maybe has heard of Ayurveda, but doesn't know to the depth of it like Ashley does or what we're talking about today, you probably have heard of a dosha quiz if you're in the health and wellness space at all, because that is something that you can like find online. And I don't know how accurate those are, but basically it's a questionnaire that helps you identify what doshas you are prominent in.
Yeah, kind of like the ratio
Okay.
of your doshas, and which one you're more dominant in. Because again, you have all 5 elements, you're going to have some different type of ratio of vata, pitta, or kapha, but it's going to be individualized.
Right. Okay.
So, and that's what makes Ayurveda also unique, is the individual concept, and the beauty of that. You know, we are unique within our own. So, vata is mostly ether and air. Again, it has all 5 elements, but the majority is ether and air. And think of it as more as this principle of movement. And think about more of like creativity, flexibility, actions as such as like breathing, sneezing, things of that nature, coughing, motor and sensory actions has more of this principle of vata, ether and air.
Okay.
Where pitta, you have more fire and water. So this is more of the principle of transformation. We think more of like metabolism, digestion, absorption, assimilation, but then there's also understanding and intelligence, right? There has to be some type of fire element has to be going on in order for you to be understanding something that I'm saying, you know? And then as far as kapha goes, more water and earth element, this is more of a principle of just like substance, stability, structure, right? Earth is heavy, it's solid. It brings, vata can be, you know, a little bit of airy, mobile. Pitta can be a little bit of sharp, very heat, hot. So you need that kapha quality to help kind of bring a little bit more love, a little bit more compassion, forgiveness, but then also structure and stability. Like think of your bones, right? And again, more of like the muscles dealing with the earth element. So that's vata, pitta, and kapha. And I'm not going to get into the details of the qualities because I want to keep it short and concise.
I was about to say it's so cool and interesting how so many qualities fit into each dosha, because it's either like quite physical and literal or even like in personality.
Without a doubt. Ayurveda teaches you how to read your own book, or if you're from a practitioner perspective like mine, how when your client comes to you, how to read the individual as a book. You know, doshas present both physical, both on the emotional level and mental level, you know. And everybody has that unique ratio that makes them unique and can make them a little bit more complex when it comes to terms of like maintaining your health and finding balance or regaining your health. But there's the beauty in it.
It's like the most bio individual approach I think that I've ever encountered
Yeah,
when it comes to health.
totally.
Next question is, how does it work in today's modern world, considering it's such an ancient practice in medicine?
Yeah. Even though Ayurveda is over 5,000 years old and very sacred and ancient, it fits perfectly in today's modern world just because we're dealing with the same elements, you know, back then as we are today. And while there's, a lot of gains in the modern Western field or allopathic field of medicine, right? They have their own advances with technology and therapies and drugs and treatments. It has its place and its role, but that's not to take anything away from Ayurveda or other natural holistic practices of medicine, which we kind of tailor more as Eastern medicine. It fits perfectly in. And what I really appreciate, Ayurveda has different lineages. Different teachers teach, it's still the same concept, but everyone has their own little slight approach to it.
Okay.
I studied with Dr. Vasant Lad, and what I really love and appreciate about him, which is a multitude of reasons, but to answer this question, is his approach of making Ayurveda an integrated approach. Since we live in a modern world,
Yeah.
we have the foundations of Ayurveda, and it's now just dealing, as we did before, but there's new things happening here that there wasn't 5,000 years ago. Same with like COVID never existed back then,
Right.
And we're seeing a big flux of different types of trends of diseases or illnesses that maybe weren't so popular back then. But it doesn't change the approach, as long as you understand what's going on and living in that harmony. So looking at food habits, looking at lifestyle, looking at movement, how are you moving? Are you exercising? Looking at certain herbs, spices. Yoga is a sister science of Ayurveda, so it works very well together. So breathing exercises, meditation, stretches, cleansing techniques or therapies to, again, kind of bring you into that balance, that art of daily living in that harmony. And it can seem like a lot because maybe we're not used to being more present and aware of what's going within us and around us. But what you do on a day-to-day basis, little tiny habits that you do, can either inch you closer towards health or inch you further away from it. And that's where Ayurveda is really helpful to kind of keep that balance or, again, regain that balance, harmony.
Some people don't take as much of an integrative approach.
So it just varies, right? I've had clients come to me or people that I've talked to where they only want natural practices of medicine or remedy, or some people don't even believe in that. They think that's totally like woo-hoo, fake, like up in the clouds, I don't know, even want to, like brujeria, like witchery.
Okay, yeah.
So they stick solely with Western medicine or
Okay.
allopathic medicine. So you're going to see different people have different kind of preferences, but to have more of that integrated approach where Ayurveda works, and understands how Western medicine is and are and what they do, and how we can kind of work together.
Okay.
A little
I
bit
love
better.
that because it is more sustainable for, I think, the majority of people who are like maybe come to you already on some kind of medication and
Oh, all of them. Most of them. Like, very rarely do I have someone who, is just strictly 100% natural. And there's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
Like I said, Western medicine has its part in the world. Like, God forbid something happens, like acute emergency accident, and you need to go into surgery. Ayurveda has surgery too, but it's different. The advancement in technology is a little bit different. So there's a place for it in the world. I don't ever want to talk negative or bad about it, but it's kind of, that's what it is.
Yeah.
This is what we're dealing with. So how to kind of work together.
I love that.
Yeah.
What services do you specifically offer?
Ayurvedic consultations, different types of yoga, bodywork therapies, and Ayurvedic therapies, and an Ayurvedic home cleanse 10-day. This is just the beginning stages of what I want to do and offer, to the world and help other people on their journey. But this is my introductory foundation phase. There's so much more that I want to do, and maybe we can talk at the end a little bit of what's to come and what's like in the woodworks, in the R&D brainstorming phase that we'll be launching hopefully sooner than later.
And which, if you have any, are your favorite kinds of services?
I love body work, honestly. I love to give, but also who does not like to receive?
Yeah.
So as far as the therapies go, all of them are really great. I've had all of them done to me, but I would say, can I do like top? I have 3 right now, but I don't want to get into that many. Maybe like top 2.
Well, can I also just ask, body work, is that specifically like massages?
So I'm a licensed massage therapist, so I can do bodywork therapies like personalized massage. There's some stretching in there I can add, or reflexology. Like I love feet. I know some people have like foot fetishes and don't want to touch feet or don't like their feet to be touched, but reflexology changed my life.
Wow, I actually just saw something about that recently. Nancy sent me a video and I was like, I want to know more about that.
I enjoyed it so much that in massage school, I did my research project on reflexology and how it has so many benefits, but I had to zone in on, more specifics. And I did it on insomnia.
Wow.
And how powerful it is. So, it's a holistic approach. Like in Ayurveda, we look at the ear and we look at the tongue, and the entire body is represented on the ear and on the tongue, but in on your feet too.
Yeah.
You have your whole entire body there on your foot, so you can press certain points. If you're having like a stomach ache or a sinus, headache or something like that.
And it's just so like, yes, of course, everything's connected,
It is
And
all.
I'm laughing because before we started the interview, I was telling Ash about like my history of self-diagnosing with parasites, and she's like, let me see your tongue. And it's just like a thing now. Yeah. But I love it because you're like, what to look out for, like there's
When
just
you
the
know
connections.
how to read the book of yourself, or again, if you're like a practitioner like myself, how to read others, like it becomes so much clearer eventually.
Yeah, for you it's clear, which I love that, because then Ayurveda is just, it's so interesting and so in-depth that like it's not one of those things that you can just like look into on the internet and be educated on. Like you really do, I feel like, need to seek a doctor of Ayurveda, a practitioner.
There's only so much like guru Google, right? Like you can find anything on there, but there's only so much that you can understand, and we're all so special and individualized. So it can be a little bit more black and white, but yeah, definitely seeing a professional.
It's important.
I would recommend. So there's body work, massage, and then there's also Ayurvedic therapies involving the body. So it's called Abhyanga. It's an Ayurvedic oil massage. Fantastic.
Ooh.
You can do it to yourself, but then there's also the act of having somebody do it on you, which is always a little bit nice.
Yeah, preferable.
There's something called Basti therapies. So in Ayurveda, Basti has 2 meanings. One meaning, an enema. This is not what I'm talking about when I say Basti for Ayurvedic therapy, for body work. Basti is basically you take some type of flour, mix some water in it, and you make it into a dough. And then you shape it kind of like a donut, and you can put that anywhere on the body. Say you're an athlete, you have knee pain, or say you're an elderly person, have like arthritis in your knee, whatever the case may be, or maybe you have heart issues like high blood pressure, heart palpitations, or you need to go to an emotional release. Like wherever there's an issue somewhere on the body, we can put this Basti localized on there, stationary it, and fill it with warm medicated oil.
Wow.
And let it sit and soak for an allotted amount of time. My favorite of that treatment is called Katipushta Basti, which basically is just your entire spinal column. So starting from your lower back all the way up to right here.
That sounds so nice.
And it is just like heaven. It is one of my favorites. My other favorite is Marma therapy. Marma therapy deals with energy points. So we have over 100 Ayurvedic energy points. I want to say maybe like 117. And each of them, it's all connected, right? So if you say this one right here on the middle of the palm of your hand is called Talahrid. Say you have anxiety, something going on with the heart, you're anxious, you're nervous, you can press this point and it can help with those things.
In either palm?
On both of them. Yeah. You know, say you have gas, say you have flatulence on your index finger, if you just press right on the nail bed in the middle, that can help with colon issues. So like,
oh my gosh, is that where it comes from, like pull my finger?
oh my gosh!
That's
I
crazy.
didn't even think about that. Probably not, but
who knows? Maybe there's an old grandma
oh my God.
in India knew, and she
That's
said, pull my
hilarious.
finger.
Pull my finger. Mommy, pull my finger. But Marma therapy, you start out with all of the therapies, I'm going to start out with polarity work, which kind of like sets the mood and energizes you and like grounds you for the treatment. And then Marma therapy is just taking an hour of pressing those different points, not all of them.
Okay.
We have to figure out and see which one would be most helpful for the individual at that time, whatever they're looking for to get out of the treatment. But I don't want to get too much into detail. Again, I'm kind of like veering myself back on track here. But the first time I ever got a Marma therapy treatment was at school. It was my first year. And after that treatment, this is specific to me. Everybody's going to feel different. So if you get this treatment done, don't expect this.
Right, disclaimer.
But it was so powerful for me. Like I was 8, 9 hours after the treatment, I was on this like post high.
Wow.
I felt so relaxed. I felt like on a different plane.
Wow, and just from body work.
Just from body work.
Incredible.
So it works. A lot of people use body work for different reasons, for stress, for relaxation. Maybe you have like muscles that need to get worked. Whatever it is, everyone has their own thing that they want to use it for. But at least for me, like the basti, the whole back basti, and the Marma therapies have just been one of my favorites.
They sound amazing.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little more about the home cleanses that you offer?
So, home cleanses, it's an Ayurvedic home cleanse. So it's going to be 10 days. It includes an initial consultation, scheduled daily check-ins for the entirety of the 10 days. And then 1 week after the cleanse is done, there's going to be a follow-up consultation just to see how things are going and to help further on. And then there's also going to be an individualized cleanse kit delivered to your door. An Ayurvedic home cleanse, this one's going to be a little bit more on, like the intense side.
Okay.
Just to kind of, there's different ways to cleanse in Ayurveda. So if you do schedule a consultation and you want some cleansing, we can talk about other options. But to sign up for this specific 10-day one, it's going to be a little bit of intensity to it and a little bit of a journey.
Okay.
We all hold toxins, we all hold emotions, trauma, things that can get stuck in our deeper tissues, stuck in certain organs that have been there for either, a few months, years, decades, or our whole life, or even past life things.
Wow.
If you want to talk about like karma. So this cleanse, obviously the more times you do it, will help release that. But in the releasing of those toxins, of whatever is not needed, to get to make you feel clean and healed on a both mental, emotional, and physical level, the process is, and that's what I'm going to be there for in the daily check-ins, is to help you along the way, make sure everything goes as planned. But there's going to be a pre-cleanse prep, where you have to, kind of cut out, basically go to almost like a vegan diet. Cut out meat, cut out alcohol, cut out caffeine. We're cleansing you, right? So why do we want to cut these things out? And then eventually you're going to be on a mono diet for the 10 days of khichdi. Khichdi is a very easily digested Ayurvedic meal of just rice. And mung beans and spices, some ghee. We can put a little bit of cilantro, lime, maybe coconut.
That sounds good.
It's really good.
So it's not like you're, drinking juices all 10 days or anything.
No, it's not a juice cleanse. You are going to be internally oleating as well.
What does that mean?
So you are going to be drinking ghee.
Or
some type
I
of
remember when you
oil.
did this.
So either ghee or flax oil. So the goal is, like, your toxins, they're sticky, they're heavy, they're stubborn. They are stuck again, either in your digestive tract or in the deeper tissues, and we want to loosen them up. And so that's why the internal oleation is important, and there's going to be external oleation, the abhyanga, the self body massage I mentioned. You'll be doing it on yourself as well. We just want to loosen up the toxins, bring it back to our digestive tract, and then flush it out. Okay? So there's more to it. There's different ways to flush the toxins out, with herbs. Triphala, is another one. It's called the Virichan. So there's intensity of that, because as you're releasing toxins, you're releasing things as well, like from an emotional and mental level.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So it's more preferred if you can take that time off for yourself and really just focus on doing the cleanse, rather than kind of being involved in the day-to-day life with like work and other aspects. But if that's not ideal, because life is life and sometimes it's hard, to stop, even though it would be more recommended to kind of get the full benefit of it. And then once the cleanse is over, you can slowly incorporate yourself back into the real world. I've done a bunch of these home cleanses myself when I was in school, and it was really helpful. There were hard moments of just like releasing certain emotions, whether it's frustration, anger, whatever the case may be. But at the end of feeling clean, think of it as like doing laundry. You have a crazy dirty shirt that has all these stains, all these blemishes, and you're like really going in and doing laundry to get that clean, white, crisp shirt. So once the cleanse is over, that doesn't mean like, okay, it worked, or I got what I wanted out of it. Maybe I lost some weight. The goal is not to lose weight. The goal is to cleanse yourself, both mentally, emotionally, and physically.
Yes.
So you can get back to that harmony with yourself, with others, and with the world, and feel like your true self. And live that life to the fullest. That's kind of like the little bit of a disclaimer, but I will be there to help you through it. It's really powerful. Really powerful.
I need to, that's like a goal of mine. I want at least one in this lifetime, hopefully once a year, but I definitely want one.
Yeah.
One of the listeners had a question about remedies for acid reflux, I think it was. Yeah, for heartburn, sorry.
Yeah. So in Ayurveda, we normally look at the root of the issue, and we address it from the root. Heartburn is more of something manifesting, like there's something deeper there. So I'm going to answer this, but it's more of like, okay, he or she is having the symptom, and it's not that I'm giving a Band-Aid response. because it can be helpful, but there's going to be deeper work that this person has to do to
Okay.
address the root cause that is manifesting as heartburn. Something just to be mindful of is how much spicy food they're eating, you know, like cayenne chili peppers,
Hot sauce.
hot sauce, maybe scale back on that a little bit and have things that are a little bit more sweeter, a little bit more cooling.
Okay.
And as far as like heartburn goes, aloe is really, really fantastic. Aloe vera gel is my number one. If you can't find the gel, then the juice is great, but make sure that it's only the inner fillet.
Okay, I have seen this actually in stores, and I didn't realize that was a thing.
Yeah, because the whole leaf is they're taking the green part and the inside as well and mixing it up.
Wow, okay.
Where you really just want the inner part. The gel is going to have a slower effect, but it's going to stay in there longer.
Okay.
The juice is a little bit quicker, so faster relief, but then it leaves the system quicker. And yeah, I love aloe. I use it for other reasons, but that can be one of the benefits of helping with some heartburn or acidity.
There you go. Any other Ayurvedic tips that people could add to their like daily routine?
Some Ayurvedic tips. So again, the things that we do on a day-to-day, our habits, our routine, can inch us towards a more balanced state of health, or it can inch us back. And something as simple as one tiny little addition or one tiny little change can make a world of a difference if it's maintained and sustained throughout, you know, a period of time. So I'm going to take this out. I brought it because some people don't know what it looks like. So just so you get the visual, this is a tongue scraper. Okay, you can find them online, Amazon. I got mine from Banyan Botanicals. Pretty sure like Whole Foods and other like health food stores.
Yeah, Nutrition Smart I know has them
Sell
too.
them. So tongue scraper, only do this in the morning. So as mentioned, like on our tongue.
I've been doing it at night. Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to change it. Morning is better. So,
Okay.
but before I get into that, so like the tongue is a really great clinical diagnosis to figure out what's going on, an insight of what's going on within. All of our organs, our whole body is represented on the tongue. So when you're sleeping through the night, your body is working hopefully in the parasympathetic rest and digest phase, you know, and kind of working through things. And, you know, in the morning, normally there's like a pile up of, you know, some toxins on the tongue. We want to gently scrape those toxins out rather than brushing them. Because brushing them is only going to push the toxins further back in. We're using a tongue scraper, or if you don't have a tongue scraper, you can use like a spoon and, you know, just kind of gently use that as
that's a nice hack.
while you wait for your tongue scraper to arrive in the mail or however you're getting it. So gently scrape those toxins out. You're physically removing the toxins out of your oral cavity, but out of your body. But then you're also gently massaging your tongue while doing that. So it's a really great way to kind of get you revved up, you know, slowly in the morning, help to start the digestive process.
Okay.
To kind of be like, okay, this is morning time, it's time to wake up. So whatever your morning routine is, there's no proper order, whether you want to brush your teeth first and then scrape your tongue, or scrape your tongue and then brush your teeth. Just do both of those in the morning. And then before you put anything in your body, before you grab your coffee, before you grab your tea, before you grab whatever breakfast you have for the day, drink a glass of room temperature or warm water. I would avoid cold or iced water. Drinking that glass after brushing your teeth and scraping your tongue, first, your oral hygiene and health is important. But if you drink that water before doing that, you're only swallowing those toxins back in. And we want to release, right?
Right, gross.
We want to cleanse it out. But that water is going to help flush your kidneys. For most people who take some type of form of caffeine, that can be heavy on their adrenals and your kidneys, so it's going to help flush them. It can also help engage or initiate some type of bowel movement, which is really, really important.
We love that.
You should be pooping every single day, okay? So that can help get that regularity started. And again, it's going to help start the digestion peristalsis, kind of just like gently waking up the system of like, okay, this is morning time to get up, and that power of routine is so important. And then the last thing I will add is just in terms of understanding, again, the elements within us, the elements in the nature aspect of it, of the external world. With the sun mirrors our digestion.
Okay.
The sun mirrors our digestive power, I should say. So the sun around noontime is at the peak of the day. So that means our digestive fire is stronger around lunchtime, around that 10 to 2-ish time.
Yeah.
In the morning it's rising, in the evening it's setting. So it's a little bit weaker. So when it comes to food, try and really have your meal, your largest meal, heaviest meal of the day around lunchtime.
Okay.
So then you can digest it as best as possible, and to avoid slow digestion, slow metabolism, and toxin buildup. So those three. Scrape your tongue, drink warm water or room temperature water in the morning, and then just to know and be aware that the sun mirrors your digestive power or capacity. So to ideally really try and have your largest meal of the day around noon. This changes if you're doing intermittent fasting, where you're only eating one meal at dinner time, but just for an overarching understanding around that.
I feel like that third tip makes sense. Like for me, I feel like with my experience that, I just know when my bigger meal shouldn't be because of trial and error and like going to sleep like way too full or something. But the way you explain it with it mirroring the sun, like, I love it. It just changes it. It changes your understanding when you bring it down to the elements.
Totally. And it gives you that visual of understanding it even more, like, oh yeah. And now pay attention to yourself, in your day-to-day, like how you feel around that 10 to 2, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. time.
There's only like a handful of habits that I've added to my routine over the years that I can't go back to not doing anymore. Tongue scraping is one of them, ever since you introduced that to me. I mean, clearly I got too excited and started doing it morning and night, but I'll switch back to just morning. And the other one, I know you didn't mention it, but I know you're a fan, is the potty squatty. But like, there's just a handful of things that once you start and like you really see the effects, once you try to go back without it.
Yeah.
Like if ever I've slept out of my house and I forgot to bring my tongue scraper in the morning, I feel like a wreck. I'm like,
well, now you know
the spoon thing,
spoon that you can use. And the reason not to do it at night is because then you're giving your body mixed signals. At nighttime is when you should be unwinding to go to bed and kind of like slowly not shut down, but unwind.
Right.
So if you do that tongue scraping, it's like, oh wait, are we waking up or are we going to sleep?
Fair.
So you can do it at before breakfast and after lunch if you want, but just
not before bed.
Yeah, not before bed.
Okay, good. And I know there's going to be so many people interested to find out more about you and your services. Where can they find you?
So you can find me online. There's a little bit more details of the services there. Right now, I have a strong online approach with my telehealth. As far as body work treatments, I am still doing them. Just reach out to me individually and we'll figure out how we can go about that. But the Ayurvedic consultation, the home cleanse, and the yoga can be done online. We can also talk about yoga and body work if you want to for sure body work has to be in person, but yoga, if you want it to be in person too, just reach out, either email me, or message me on, social media, my Instagram account. And again, on a one-on-one basis, I can approach and we can discuss a little bit more about that.
I love it. So you can find her online. Obviously, I'm going to tag her, and I'll put your email in the caption as well in case anybody wants to reach out.
Can I say one more thing of what's to come? So this fall, I will be launching my brick and mortar location. Brick and mortar location will be locally here in South Florida. And as far as being able to, have Ayurvedic consultations, yoga, and body work, so there's going to be an Ayurvedic clinic space along with a therapy room. And then I'm also going to be launching an apothecary as well.
Girl.
So the apothecary is something that's really, it's going to be my baby. It's really special to me. It's going to be a soft launch. There's going to be different phases of growth throughout the business in general, but especially the apothecary.
Yeah.
But just to know that I'll be offering, medicinal beverages such as tonics, teas, and certain other products as well.
Can't wait.
And I'll have a chai for, the caffeine.
Oh my gosh. Is it the one that you made?
So, yeah.
Her chai is so good. So good. And let me tell you, I introduced dairy back into my diet, but I usually do almond milk. I think we had raw milk that day with the chai.
Milk, yeah.
Oh my God. Y me cayó tan bien. I didn't feel sick or anything. It was amazing. I love that.
And it's the raw milk and the spices. And there'll be, and I'll have a raw milk option, but then there'll also be a non-dairy option for those, who want that. So just stay tuned this fall, coming soon, for the local peeps. And then obviously if you're not local, there's still the telehealth online options.
I'm so excited for you, and I'm excited for everybody that I know is going to benefit from your services. And yeah, I'm proud of you. Thanks for doing this.
Awesome. Thanks, Dre.
Give me a hug.
Love you. Love you, girl.